maximize your health. I've known Paul for a long time. He's gracious enough to invite us in and talk to you about health. I've been doing speaking. I've spoken in other companies within this building. I always ask two things. One is that my goal in practice is to reach over 1 million people. It's a lot of people. It's a big goal. One of the ways I do that is through speaking like this. Another way that I do this is that some of this information you're going to hear today, like, yeah, I'm good, I've got this, but it might be a parent, a sister, or brother who needs to hear it. Pass it on. There's going to be a bunch of things. You're going to feel like you're drinking out of a fire hydrant today. I'm going to give you a bunch of info, a bunch of content. Take 2 or 3 things today and just start with that. Don't feel like you have to go through each and everything I go through. Some of it will be applicable to some of you, some of it will not be. So 5 ways to go through health. So if we had to grade overall health of the United States, we'd say we're kind of killing it right now. Are we good? Are we not so good? What do you think? Not so good?
Probably a C minus.
A C minus, right. So each year, the U.S. wants to know, like, where are we spending our money at? You've probably seen healthcare costs, have they gotten more expensive or less expensive? More, right? Do we think in the future they're going to go up or down? Up, right? And one of the reasons behind there is because, unfortunately, we're not getting healthier as a nation. Overall, we're getting more and more sick. And one of the ways that we know that is because the system that we're in now, it's a reactive-based system. We wait for X, Y, and Z symptom to pop up, and then we might go to a Med Express, we might go to the ER, take care of that X, Y, or Z symptom, but we're just masking that up typically with either a pill potion or a medication down the road. And one of the reasons why is that we're taught at a very early age that if we look at health, we diagnose it as how we feel or how we look. And unfortunately, that's not what health is. Health is how you feel physically. You can be physically healthy, but you might be under a ton of stress, so emotionally you're not. You might be emotionally healthy, but chemically you're taking in a bunch of toxicity that just not has caught up to you yet. So we look at how you react physically, emotionally, and chemically. It's not how you look, it's not how you feel. And nobody else is responsible for your health. Okay? At the end of the day, it's you. It's not your spouse, it's not your kids, it's not your parents. You're you and you alone. And most conditions that we have are lifestyle-based conditions. Hypertension, cardiovascular disease, various forms of cancer, although not all forms of cancer, type 2 diabetes. A lot of these conditions, the major killers in the U.S., are lifestyle-based conditions, meaning we lifestyled our way into this issue. The good news is if you've lifestyled your way into it, you can lifestyle your way out of it. But it takes energy, it takes commitment, and it takes change. Where are you on here? Are you doing the right things right? You exercising? Putting good nutrients in your body? How's your stress? Who's had stress this week? Right? Who's had stress since you came to work? Right? Most of us. How do you manage that stress? What type of chemicals are you putting in your body? What's toxicity look like? How's your mindset? You've already made 200 health-based decisions before you even got to work today. What you put in your body, what you slept on, are there filters in your house? There's so many different changes and decisions you already made in regard to your health, you may not even recognize it. So my goal today is to kind of show you some of these maybe blinking red lights that are there before it turns into an issue. So stats. I'm a numbers guy. I love numbers. So these are just cold, hard stats. Don't believe me? Feel free to Google. 3 out of 5 Americans are on prescription medication. It's a lot. 1 out of 2 males will be diagnosed with cancer. 1 out of 3 females will be diagnosed with cancer. 1 out of 3 people will die from cancer. 1 out of 4 children are on a medication for a chronic condition. It is the first time ever in history where kids are not expected to outlive their parents. It's never happened before. We consume 75% of the world's pharmaceuticals. Guys, we only make up 5% of the world's population. We're taking 75% of the drugs. That means the other 95% of the world is taking the other 25 to 30%, depending on what year we're talking about. That's a lot. We take 92% of the world's antidepressants and 99% of the Vicodin. So if that was working, I'd be all for it. But we have stats in facts to show that it's not.
Sorry, real quick.
Yep.
The stat of the children living with their parents, what's the reason for that?
Say again?
You said children are now not willing to outlive their parents. What's the reason?
So it's a good question. So environmental stressors, childhood obesity is a big time issue, and they get diagnosed with conditions at a very early age. Various conditions like anxiety-based disorders, autism. It used to be 1 out of 150, 160. It's now down to 1 in 50. There's various risk conditions. The #1 cause of death in kids, cancer, under 13 years of age. It's never happened before. That's why it's not just us we worry about, it's our kiddos as well.
By outlive, you mean have a lower life expectancy.
Right, correct, right. Stats from 2018, 610,000 Americans died from cancer. That was in 2018. We touched on cancer and heart disease. 1 in 4 deaths will be from heart disease. That was from 2018 as well. So I don't tell these stats to scare you. That's not my goal. But it's kind of bring attention that, no one's going to live forever. Right? But you guys are all working your tails off 40 plus hours a week, putting money aside for this big thing at the end of work called retirement, right? Most of us want to enjoy the fruits of our labor. Unfortunately, what happens is that retirement comes and our health starts to go down by the wayside. And all that money we had saved, put away for cruises and living on that cruise ship or traveling, doesn't end up working out that way. Because the decisions you make now is what will dictate your health 20, 30, 40 years from now. So, mindset. First and foremost, it all starts between your ears. I've been doing nutrition counseling. It's my second passion outside of chiropractic for about 15 years. And one of the things we touch on is change. And it never fails. When I meet someone, they're ready to go. I'm typically the right person at the right time that's in front of them. They've heard a lot of this content before. They're just ready to change. So when you look at goals, and I bring your attention to this, you not even just use it for health, but just in general, if you're trying to get a promotion at work, or if you're trying to go into a 5K or run a 10K, you need to set goals. So I always say set 2 goals. One is a 90-day goal, one's a 12-month goal. So when you set goals, it goes by a SMART. It says, got to be specific, you got to be able to measure it, it's got to be achievable, and it's got to be realistic. So if someone says, I just want to lose 100 pounds in 60 days, ain't happening, right? I want to lose 30 pounds by changing my nutrition, my lifestyle over the next 90 days, more realistic. Right? These types of goals that you set forth, if you put pen to paper, the chances of them being achieved are more likely than just kind of just living inside you without writing it all down. Another part of mindset is your why. What's your big why? Why get up in the morning and work out? Why eat right? Why take good care of your body? At the end of the day, why do you do all of it? So mine is this. So that's a picture of me, obviously. That's my old man. That was my son. I now have that picture is reversed. I now have a 10-month-old baby girl who I just love to pieces. So my big why is this. I never thought that picture would happen. I never met any of my grandparents. They were both, all 4 of them were passed away, with the exception of my grandfather. He died when I was like 3. So I got to see the relationship he had. So my sister, I have an older sister, she has 3 kids. And their relationship I got to see the grandparents have. I was jealous of that. I can't associate with it. I never had it. So my big why on why I do the things that I do is that when this picture gets reversed, I want to be Grandpa running down the beach and like, wow, I can't keep up with him. He's in that good shape. And that's what my big why is. So what I would ask of you is that what is yours? What gets you up in the morning? What motivates you? Why do the things that you do? Because if you can connect to that, when you're at the Steeler game this weekend, or if you're watching a college game this weekend and you're out on a Thursday night after work, and there's the 5 appetizers that are out there, and there's there's beer or whatever it is, you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to have what I know I can have, but I'm not going to overindulge myself because that in turn is going to affect me down the road. Don't get me wrong, we all like to have fun, right? I'm not saying you can't live your life. But if you're living your life 7 days a week, that bill is going to come due. Don't know when, don't know how. It's just basic truth. So if you can connect to your big why throughout this, It makes it a heck of a lot easier when somebody does something you may not be congruent with. It's a lot easier to say no. Make sense? Okay, so nutrition. Nutrition's a big topic. You can look into various forms of nutrition. You might get 7 or 8 different reasons on why you should do this. Should you do keto? Should you do paleo? Should you do intermittent fasting? You can pick and choose whichever you want to do. Okay? Nutrition programs work for a reason because typically people follow them. You want to be smart about it and realize what you can and cannot what you can and cannot do, and what you're able to do. Because nothing's worse than doing, especially when it comes to nutrition, by starting something and stopping 30 days later, because it's just failure. No one likes to fail. And it really stinks if you start a nutrition program and realize, like, I just didn't get through it. It's not fun. So making sure you can achieve these things. When we talk about nutrition, I talk about things that look the color of white: salt and sugar. The FDA recommends 40 grams of sugar per day. I would say Dr. Chris recommends about 20 to 25. Say, well, I'm not eating sugar. I would say you probably may not be, you might be drinking. So this shows you just various slides from what coconut water, which is decent for you, just has one ingredient in it, which is coconut water, but still has sugar in it. Or these juices, like those naked juices, can have 50 to 55 grams of sugar in them, depending on which one it is. Sugar produces inflammation. We do not want inflammation in our body. Inflammation is the cause of most, if not all, diseases. Inflammation takes place from those physical stresses I touched on, the chemical stresses from the sugar that I'm touching on now, as well as emotional. When we look into sugar, for example, and how do you know if something has sugar in it? Check the label. Fantastic. What about bread? Does bread have sugar in it?
Yes.
If you put bread in your mouth, think of putting a piece of bread in your mouth, it just sits there. Is it going to turn to mush? Say yes. Yes. Pasta, rice, breaks down to sugar. Sugar then breaks down into fat. So the more and more sugars you take in your body, the more inflammatory processes you're putting in. It doesn't matter if it's white or wheat, although wheat and whole grain is better than white. Sugar is sugar is sugar. So you want to limit that as much as possible. So the key changes here: cleaning up your carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, you ever see the Austin Powers? The carbs are the enemy, right? All diabetes is carbohydrate toxicity. That's all diabetes is. It's carbohydrate overload on the body. So cleaning up your carbohydrates. There's a form of simple carbohydrates, all those things we love, right? Those chips. Fried foods. These are all forms of simple carbohydrates. Next is fixing your fats, which I'll talk to you about how you can get the bad fat and replace it with a good fat. Changing up your proteins and trashing your toxins. These are 4 steps that I'll teach you and hopefully show you and give you some good tips on what you can do here. So when I talk about nutrition, I'm talking about inflammation. Another problem is that it affects your hormones. There's a lot of hormones in food. Right? We think about meats, for example, right? Whether it's dairy, whether it's chicken, fish, there's hormones in these foods. Those hormones produce estrogen levels that we do not want. The more estrogen we have in a body, the more likelihood it can produce a cancer-based condition. So what can we do here? Number 1, eliminate sugar as much as you can. Okay? You can put an app on your phone. It's called MyFitnessPal. It's a free app. You can download it. And I always give you the challenge is to track your stuff for a week. Just jot everything down for a week. You put it on your laptop, on your iPhone, put it on there, and see what you're putting in your body. How many grams of fat are you putting in every day? What does sugar look like? How many grams of carbohydrate are you putting in every day? And then that gives you an overall picture, because typically we're creatures of habit. We do the same things consistently. We're typically not eating 5 different things for breakfast every week. We're usually maybe doing 1 or 2. Okay? Same thing for lunch, same thing for dinner. We typically live within the same types of areas throughout. Now there's a Not everyone's the same, but most people are that way. Cutting out grains is number 2. Removing those bad fats, which I'm going to get to here in just a second, why that's so important. And then eating very little fruit. Why is that?
Is it sugar?
Sugar, right? Sugar is sugar is sugar. Now the ones that are going to pass on here, anything in the berry family, raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, how about it? Apples, grapefruit, those will pass. When you think if you bite into something and it has that, like a watermelon, a honeydew, a cantaloupe, something you bite into and it kind of has that juice explosion, okay, that's sugar. When you're reading a label, the rule of thumb is anything that ends in OSE, that's how you know it is a sugar. Whether it's dextrose, glucose, fructose, it's all a form of sugar. So if you look on a label that says OSE, you know it has a form of sugar in it. And then avoiding toxins, which I'll get to in just a second. Okay, so fats. There's good fats and there's bad fats. You guys have a sheet on your desk here. This is a handout. It lets you know kind of where it starts you off on the worst to best list. And it will break down a lot of this content for you. So oils. Ones to go with are coconut, grapeseed, olive oil. If you cook with olive oil, just realize it doesn't hold up over heat. So if you cook it to a medium to a high heat, it turns it into a rancid fat. It can't hold up over 280-ish degrees. Whereas coconut oil, grass-fed ghee, butter can all hold up over high heat. So the olive oil type stuff is what you want to put on your salads, or if you cook them over very light heat. But if you turn it on to a very high heat, you just turn it into vegetable oil or canola oil. Another form of good fat is avocados. Okay. Anything coconut I love. Seeds are fantastic. Nuts, Brazil nuts, walnuts are kind of the number 1 on my list. With the exception of peanuts. So anything in the nut family with the exception of peanuts, just some of the bacteria that's on there. Butter's fine, so you can have butter. It's fantastic for you in moderation. Look into cheese and yogurt. So yogurt, sugar, right? When you have the recommendations for yogurt is it has a lot of good bacteria in it for your gut. You buy it plain. You could put nuts in it, seeds in it. You can naturally sweeten it, throw some fruit on top, and you're good to go. If you're buying yogurt with the cookie on top, the fruit on the bottom, okay, that's dessert. We can all agree it's not an actual yogurt. Milk. So milk, we're the only mammals that still drink milk at this stage. If you're going to drink milk, I would challenge you to go with an unsweetened almond or coconut milk and try to limit as much dairy when it comes to milk as possible. Milk has a fair amount of sugar in it. It's also tough on the gut. The organic conversation is this. I eat organic as much as possible, although I travel a lot for work and I'm in and out of town, so I'm at the demise of the hotels and things of that nature. So there's going to be things you can and can't do that are out of your control. The things that are in your control, I recommend you go organic as much as possible. And the first place you would start with would be your proteins. That would be your grass-fed beef, organic chicken, wild fish, due to the hormone levels and the chemicals that are in proteins themselves. The number 1 reasons I would say this is that it's an investment. So if you look at your grocery bill and you're like, I just spent $250 at Giant Eagle and it's just a crazy amount of money. Well, if you look at it as an investment or you look at it as an expense, because that money you spend on your health, it's already gone. It's already spent. You can spend it now on prevention, or you can spend it later on reaction. That's the number 1 cause for bankruptcy in the United States. Does anybody know what it is? Who said?
Health bills?
Health bills. You are correct. You have good hands?
Maybe.
Number 1 cause, medical bills. Like I said, the money you spend, it's gone. You can do it now or you can do it later. Nursing homes. Unfortunately, we just lost my wife's grandmother passed away a few weeks ago. Does anyone have a parent that's getting older or a grandparent? See what nursing home bills are look like?
Scary. Upwards of can be $5,000 to $15,000 a month. That's crazy amounts of money.
$400 a day.
$400 a day. You got it. Okay. Exercise. So my background's in exercise. My background's in exercise physiology. I love exercise, the benefits of it. We've been lied to when it comes to exercise. You do not have to be at the gym for an hour and a half, killing it every night. It's BS. You can get a good workout in 20 to 30 minutes and done. Any sports fans in here? Couple. So the Olympics. I always like to talk about the Olympics because it's just those people are typically not getting paid. They're getting paid very minimum. They're kind of in it for the love of the sport. Look at marathon runners. Okay. Body type, are they overweight? Okay. They have a big muscle mass to them?
No.
Skinny? Very skinny. Okay. We agree with that? Sprinters. Think about 100-meter dash, 200-meter dash, guys and girls. Overweight?
No.
Super skinny?
No.
Lean and mean. Two body types. Who, if you have to look at them and judge them from the outside in, who looks healthier?
Sprinters.
We agree? Marathon runners, the longer you go, you have hormones that come into place. The longer you exercise, okay, something called cortisol, which is a stress hormone, goes up. We don't want that. We want cortisol levels to stay at a healthy pace. Whereas testosterone and growth hormone, those are hormones that are going to kind of put on muscle mass and allow us to kind of be healthy. The longer we exercise, the lower those go. Think of the Barry Bonds diet. When he played for the Pirates, he was like 100, 200 pounds, maybe soaking wet. He went to the Giants and he put on 50 or 60 pounds. But what was he doing? He was cheating, right? He was putting the stuff you can get naturally in your body, but he wanted more of it. So he was putting growth hormone and testosterone in his body. So when you're exercising, rule of thumb, it's high intensity interval training. How do you do it? Well, it's pretty easy. You don't need to belong to a gym, a cycle club. You can do it at the house. You can do it walking. You can do it running, sprinting. You do 20 minutes to 30 minutes every other day. Because the reason behind that is that those hormones are still working for you the next day. So you would skip a day. So if you did it today, you wouldn't do it again tomorrow. You wouldn't do it until Saturday. So what do you do? So if it's walking, you have a heart rate. If you have an Apple Watch that has a heart rate monitor, you can buy one on Amazon for like 20 or 30 bucks. You need to get what's called your target heart rate. So if those of you who have interest of it, there's an equation. You take the number 220 and you subtract your age from it. Your real age, not the age that you tell everybody here you are. So it's 220 minus your age. That's going to give you a number. You're going to take that number times 0.75 or 75%. And then you take that same number and multiply it times 85%. So that will give you what's called 75 to 85% of your maximum heart rate. So when you're exercising, that's where you want your heart rate to go. When it is there, that's giving you the maximum benefits of exercise that people are trying to get to for an hour and a half at the gym. So if you go 20 seconds on, 20 seconds off, or 25 seconds on, 25 seconds off, it's up to you. But what do? So if you're walking, you speed walk. 20 on, 20 off, 20 on, 20 off. So you're walking as fast as you can, as safely as you can. If you're running, you're jogging, and then you're sprinting. You're jogging, sprinting. If you're on a Peloton or a cycle, same thing. Sprint, easy pace, sprint, easy pace. You can do speed squats. You can do bicep curls. You can do any activity that allows you to safely do things at a higher pace. And the rule of thumb to know that if you're there is that they call it the ability to speed. So if I ask Paul, hey Paul, what's today? And he's exercising, he can say Thursday right away. He's not going, he's sandbagging it, right? So Paul quit sandbagging. So what do? Well, if I then ask him the same question, he's huffing and puffing, it's Thursday. Chances are his heart rate is at a higher place where he needs to be. So it's another cheat test you can do when you're exercising. Make sense? So that is called high-intensity interval training. There are a ton of videos on YouTube. There's free workouts. You throw it on your TV, you're good to go. So recommendations for exercise. Detox. Okay. As something happens over time. It's called estrogen dominance. Guys, it isn't just about females. It can happen to males as well. Now what happens? Well, you become more irritable, anxiety can kick in, hot flashes and lights can just be sitting there, and all of a sudden you just kind of feel overwhelmed, you kind of get hot, and you start to sweat. You have weight gain. You change nothing with your diet, but yet you're putting on weight. What the heck is happening? You're depressed, you're getting migraines. These are all symptoms that there's too much estrogen in your body. If this has ever happened to you, you can relate to this. Now, what happens over time is this. You put chemicals and toxins into your body. Things like various forms of plastic, things like soy, things around the home. When you're cleaning your house or fixing your car, those chemicals, they get ingested in your body. Remember, we want to try to limit the things you can limit. Things that you can limit are things that we're putting in our body. So when you're buying, think about all the creams you put on your face, or the stuff you put in your hair, or the deodorant you used. What do those chemicals look like? Typically, females specifically, you might shave in the shower, and then you get out of the shower and you put in a deodorant. Deodorant has a chemical called aluminum in it, unless you're using a natural deodorant. That is a neurotoxin. Guys, same thing, except we're not shaving underneath our arms. And then that gives you that easy exposure right into the skin. Another one is soy. Soy is another form that has high estrogen to it. When you're buying chemicals for your face, you want shampoos, soaps, you want it to be paraben or phthalate free. These are known cancer-causing agents. And think about, if you guys watch the news, anybody follow the Roundup issue, the Roundup case? Does anyone know what? There's a chemical in Roundup, it's called glyphosate. And what happened there is that they knew, Bayer bought this company, which they're completely regretting now that they bought this company. They bought a company called Monsanto, and what happened is that they knew that this glyphosate, which is a chemical in Roundup, causes cancer. This cancer-causing agent, they knew about and covered it up. Long story short, they got their hands stuck in a cookie jar, and a lot of people got really, really sick, got cancer from it. So the chemical is called glyphosate, and that's a known neurotoxin. And I say that because there's other chemicals that can do the same thing, just not as severe, which is why I bring this up. So the things you put on your face, soaps, etc., paraben or phthalate free. The most toxic things you can put in your body consistently: coffee beans, strawberries, and canola oil. So I love coffee, I drink coffee. You try to drink it because of the bacteria that's on coffee beans. Try to drink it organic if and when you can. Strawberries are like sponges. They take in all the pesticides that are on top of them. Try to go organic on the berries as much as possible. And canola oil, same thing. We've already touched on the toxicity with it. These are just little things you can change consistently over time that can produce a big time change for you. A couple action steps you can do. You're up here, so you can check your temperature a couple times throughout the day. So it's an at-home test to check your temp. You want to be between 98.4 to 98.8. That's called your basal body temperature. You can check in the morning after rising. And Paul has these slides, by the way. You can pass them on to you if you guys need them. Eliminating gluten, iodine is another thing you can increase, as well as selenium. So think of Brazil nuts. Healthy proteins we touched on have a lot of iodine in them. Okay. We want iodine typically because it causes thyroid issues when you have low amounts of iodine. So if you're eating a healthy amount of protein, it will increase that level. The beauty products I touched on, there's a free app, it's called Skin Deep. You can download it on your phone. You can put whatever you're using on your body, you can put it in there. It has a grading system. It's really neat. It's called Skin Deep. You can put all your beauty products in there, let you know how you're doing. Eating organic, I touched on, and then cruciferous vegetables. The color green is good. So when you're going grocery shopping, all grocery stores are the same way, right? You walk into the store, they call it perimeter shopping. You stay on the perimeter of the store. If you're living in the aisles, buying a lot of boxed foods, canned goods, those are where all this bad stuff lives. If you're living on the perimeter of the store, that's where all the good stuff lives. You want your food to go bad. If your food's lasting till 2022, unless the end of the world is coming, you don't really need it. And there's going to be all that. Obviously, it's preserved with a bunch of gunk. So that is when you're buying, you stay on the perimeter of the store, very, very limited on the inside. You can also check your body mass index. Body mass index is a huge risk factor. The higher up that goes, it's just your weight divided by your height. So you can go into Google and type in what's my BMI, look at your height, look at your weight, it'll give you a number. Too low is a problem, too high is a problem. You can also get your body fat checked. Now if you're elevated both your BMI and your body fat, now you're the risk factor for all those things I touched on earlier. So it's just another take-home step you can do. So, body information, right? Lastly, what does this?
Can I ask a question?
Fire away.
So if we talk about BMI and all that,
Yeah.
why do they still use standards from 1920 and they haven't changed the BMI index?
The research hasn't been done on it yet to change it.
Pardon me?
The research hasn't been done on it, why they should or shouldn't change it.
Just curious.
Yeah, those are older standards, but the research still shows the higher up you go in that BMI. It doesn't take into account muscle, which is my biggest argument with it.
That's kind of,
Yeah. So if you look at like the professional athletes, they're going to look like they're morbidly obese on this scale, where they're really not. But typically, most people aren't professional athletes. They still aren't in that equation. So I think for my athletes, I don't have them. I wouldn't use that as an indicator. To the layperson, someone who's working in an office setting, I think it's still a very good indicator of where their overall health is, especially when you get over 30, into the 30s, between 30 and 40. I think that's a good risk factor. That's something down the pipeline. Good question. Okay, so switching gears now to overall health. If I had cancer right now, would I know the same day that I had it? What about heart disease? The day I have heart disease, high cholesterol, diabetes. This goes back to the beginning. What I was talking about is that health is not how you feel, it's not how you look, it's how you function. Unfortunately, our body is not capable of telling us something is wrong right away, unless we're in a huge trauma. We break a bone, obviously. You can have hypertension at stage 1. They call it a silent killer because you have no signs or symptoms of it. I can have all those issues and not know because your body does not tell you something until you lose 40% of your health. So that means between 61 and 100%, something can be going on. You have no idea. Okay? It's called you have no symptoms from it. You don't have anything to go from. You're not getting that headache. You're not having that issue with poor sleep, energy, gastrointestinal issues. So we think everything's okay. But unfortunately, that symptom pops up. So now you have this sheet here. We are wired head to toe. We don't have Wi-Fi in our body. We don't have BIOS in our body. We are wired literally head to toe. Now what happens over time is that your body can go through a severe trauma. So the primary system in our body that controls everything, we all know that it's our brain. Our brain is our master control system. It is the president of our body. In order for it to work, it sends a message through your spine, out through all your nerves, that goes to every muscle, tissue, and organ in your body. So for your heart rate to beat regularly, or for you to breathe, interpret what I'm saying, your body has to be doing its thing. I can take a knife, I can take a knife, cut Paul, then he's going to punch me with the left hand, right? But what's going to happen? Is he going to bleed forever?
No.
It's going to stop, right? And then what's going to happen? It's going to scab. New skin's going to form. That scab's going to fall off, right? So what that's called, it's called innate intelligence. His body's telling him, there's an issue here. I need to fix this. We all have this innate intelligence within us. Our body is capable of really healing itself. It's pretty neat think about a liver transplant, or somebody who donates part of their liver, it regenerates itself. How crazy is that? That the body knows some of it is gone, I need to put a new part there. The stuff that our body is capable of is just astonishing. Crazy to think what it can do. How that works is through what's called your central nervous system. Remember Superman? Some of you younger guys, girls may not quite remember Cruciferous Vegetables, but not too many youngins in here. Sorry. So, Superman, what happened to him? Right. Yeah. What did he do? Did he break his arm? Broke his neck, right? So then, he was a healthy guy. He was Superman. That was huge. He broke his neck, broke the top bone in his neck. The rest of his life, he was in that chair. Had to have a feeding tube. Had to have his belly massaged every time after he ate. He lost all function, and his neck shifted a couple millimeters. That's all that happened. We'll say, you know what, that's not really happening to me. I haven't had this type of major trauma. But what are you guys doing every day? What are we doing? We're on the phone, computer, driving. What does our posture look like each and every day? And you say, well, what's posture have to do with this? Well, it has a lot to do with it. If I have you all tuck your chin into your chest right now, take a breath in, and relax. And now bring your head straight up. Breath in, and relax. Which one's easier? Obviously, right, straight ahead. And I tell you that because it's oxygen we touch on. Just a little bit of oxygen you lose consistently. And you're able to have good health throughout your nervous system. The rest of your body can follow suit. So here's what I mean by that. If I take another knife here and I don't cut Paul's arm, I cut his upper back here. There's a nerve from here that runs to his heart. What's going to happen? Is he going to live? So you may not believe in gravity, but I can take you down to the UPMC building downtown and I can tell you to jump. I promise you you're going to fall. What happens 100% of the time? That nerve gets cut, that heart stopping, game over. So, well, that's not really happening to me. What is that you get pressure on there. So now, if you look into here, and you go to your doc, now we talk symptoms. And you go to your doc, and you say, hey, you know what? I'm having these headaches. I don't know why I'm getting them. I'm getting these tension-based headaches. And I think I might have a blood pressure issue. You look at 1C up top. The doc says, I know what this is. This is grade 1 hypertension. Here's lisinopril. Take this for the rest of your life. You say, well, that's not really me, doc, but what is happening? Go down to 7C. I'm losing my hair. My nails aren't good. My energy stinks. I can't really just seem to get out of bed in the morning. I'm putting on weight, but I don't know why. He says, I know what this is. Your thyroid's just not working the way that it should be. Here's a Synthroid. Take this for the rest of your life. You say, well, that's not really me, but what is me? If you go down to 12T, is that I'm eating, and after I eat, it feels like a fire is coming out of my mouth. So I know what this is. This is acid reflux. Here's Prilosec. Take this for the rest of your life. You keep on going down, you say, well, you know what, that's not really me, but what is me is that I'm going to the bathroom all the time, I'm thirsty, I feel like my blood sugar's dropping. You go down to 7T, he says, I know what this is. You're pre-diabetic. Take metformin for the rest of your life. And that is typically, not all, and I come from 4 medical doctors, so I'm not here bashing medicine. First and foremost, they save millions of lives. What I am saying is that you do have other options. The first reaction does not have to be a pill, potion, or lotion. You have choices to make. You can change what you're putting in your body. You can change your mindset. You can change the way that you're exercising. You can change all these things that I touched on today to get you to a higher state of health. There's a time and a place for all of that stuff. If you have grade 3, if you have stage 3 hypertension, you're getting ready to have a stroke. Get your tail to the ER. That needs to be lowered yesterday. If your blood sugar's through the roof, you're getting ready to have an issue. You need to get that fixed yesterday. But most conditions are not 911s. That's what I'm talking about today. Does this make sense? So these warning signs we get, whether it's headaches, fatigue, reflux, these are all warning signs that your body's talking to you. And something's going on. And we can either ignore them, kick the can down the road, or you put a big piece of black tape over top of it and ignore the symptom altogether. The choice is yours. I would tell you that your body is smarter than you think it is. And when you're having symptoms, don't ignore them, because from that previous slide, you're already at 60%. That's a flying red light saying something's going on. fixing it. And for just covering it up, and eventually that bill is coming due. So that's all I got for you today. Moving forward, for those of you who